Today marks 2 years since Lena Keel was reported missing. Police say the playground at the Villas del Cabo apartment complex was where she was last seen at. That's in the 9400 block of Fredericksburg Road. Despite several tips, investigators still haven't been able to find her. Advocates for the Keel family believe someone has the key piece of information that could bring Lena home.
This family has been waiting too long, and they really need some information on where their daughter is. And if you're able to help, I would say please do. This is a season of hope.
This age progression sketch shows what Keel could look like now. San Antonio police and the FBI say they're looking for any clues. So if you have any information that could help police, please call 210-224-STOP.
We're now seeing what happened moments before police in Austin arrested Shane James Jr.
Investigators say he killed his own parents at their East Bexar County home earlier this month, then drove to Austin and killed at least 4 other people. Right now, James is in the Travis County Jail on a number of charges, including 2 counts of capital murder. Austin police released the body camera video.
I'm hit!
APD says an Austin police detective was shot multiple times, but he did not have life-threatening injuries.
And here's a different angle from a different officer's body camera. It picks up from the moment after the detective was shot. You can see 2 officers taking cover behind that vehicle.
APD says James was not hit by the gunfire and left that scene in a stolen vehicle. Officers arrested him less than 20 minutes later after a short chase.
Okay, big news in the political world. The Colorado Supreme Court disqualifying former President Donald Trump for running in Colorado's Republican primary. And this ruling comes on the grounds that the former president allegedly engaged in an insurrection on January 6th. So this is the first time in American history that the 14th Amendment has been used to ban a presidential candidate. The justices zeroing in on the part of the 14th Amendment, specifically Clause 3. So it bars anyone who engaged in insurrection or rebellion from holding office. Now, the Trump campaign already promising a fight, saying they will swiftly file an appeal to the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, Trump's Republican rivals already starting to come to his defense.
We don't need to have judges making these decisions. We need voters to make these decisions.
I do not believe Donald Trump should be prevented from being president of the United States by any court.
Dozens of lawsuits already filed around the country to try to disqualify former President Trump. But this is actually the first one that succeeded. Now it is up to the Supreme Court to decide whether or not he can be on the ballot.
Consumer Reports is doubling down on its warning about a popular portable blender. CR officials said they have received several new complaints about the BlendJet 2 portable blender. There have been several reports of injuries, including one blender exploding and another of a 2-year-old who turned the BlendJet 2 on without its lid and put her hand into it. A third complaint reported that the blender started smoking while it was plugged in, and a person burned his finger when unplugging it. Now, if you own one of these blenders and you're having issues, you can contact the maker through its support page. We have a link on KSAT12. Just scan the QR code on your screen. And the manufacturer says it's now made changes to the product. Consumer Reports said it plans to repurchase and reevaluate the modified BlendJet 2 portable blender in the coming weeks and will report on the results.
Okay, it is a big story we've been following extensively all day.
Legally trying to come
live in Eagle Pass. We're hearing from Representative Tony Gonzalez. Let's listen in.
What about the railway that brings so much trade and commerce? What about us? I'll start with some numbers, and then I'll share a little bit of the day and some stories. So one, here in Eagle Pass, there's over 10,000 people in detention. That is a historic number. Yesterday, there was over 4,000 that came over. Once again, another astronomical number. And yesterday, Border Patrol, CBP, was able to decompress, process, get over 4,000 people out. Another historic number. But yet, more people are still coming, and there's more people in the pipeline. And I suspect Christmas will be worse than today. and New Year's will be worse than today. We're going the absolute wrong direction. I visited Firefly earlier. That place I visited many times. This is my district. I woke up in San Antonio. I'll spend the day in Eagle Pass. I'll go to Sanderson, and I'll sleep tonight in El Paso. And I'll visit tomorrow with folks in El Paso and the Border Patrol there, and we'll talk about what's happening out there. I visited this firefight facility earlier today that has a max capacity of 1,000 people. There was nearly 6,000 people in there. I've never seen it that high. Border Patrol agents, many of them are going to have to work during Christmas. So while America is opening up their presents under the tree with smiles all around, Eagle Pass and the people of Eagle Pass and the people of El Paso and the people in Arizona and the people along the border are going to be stuck having to deal with this border crisis. There are very simple things that need to happen in order for this to end. One, we need to surge immigration judges to the border. This is America. People need to get their cases heard in days, not years. And if they do not qualify for asylum, they need to be deported. And once you do that, just like we did in Del Rio a year and a half ago when there was Haitians under the bridge, this goes away. Just like they did in years past under different administrations. You have to surge immigration judges to the border. You got to get cases heard, and you got to deport people that do not qualify for asylum. I've been working very closely on border negotiations. Just yesterday, I had a conversation with one of the senators that's very much involved, trying to come up with real solutions. I will work with anyone to make this go away. Because once again, what about us? The city of Eagle Pass has received 0 federal dollars in reimbursement. The emergency responders have had to deal with countless numbers of dead people that are perished in the water. Right now, the water's a little bit down, so not as many people are drowning, but that could easily change. The hospital is filled. If you live in Eagle Pass, imagine this. Imagine something happens to you. You dial 911, and you cannot go to the hospital because there are no beds, because all the beds are filled. I'm not making this up. This is where we're at. Border Patrol agents are doing everything they can to take care of the situation, but they're completely overwhelmed, completely just overwhelmed with the situation, and it's getting worse. The bridge is a large part of everyday life for any border community. You have Americans that travel back and forth to visit family members, to go shopping, and it's under siege. Right now, earlier today, I visited the port of entry here in Eagle Pass. I spoke with a woman that had been in line for 15 hours. And why was she in line for 15 hours? Because today is her daughter's birthday, and she's traveling to San Antonio to visit her daughter. This is the everyday life. Imagine you're in New York City, and the Brooklyn Bridge takes you 15 hours to get to the city. Imagine you're in San Francisco. You're in California, and the Golden Gate Bridge takes you 15 hours. It's no different than any community here on the border. The train is so vital to our commerce, and it has been shut down for days. Why has it been shut down? Because there are tens of thousands of migrants using that train to enter the country illegally. And historically, this isn't the first time we've shut the train down. But when we shut the train down, there was an immediate effect. The train has been shut down for 3 days now, and the impact is only getting worse. So what does that mean? That means the tools that have been used in previous are no longer working. We're beyond a breaking point. We're already there. And this train doesn't just stop in Eagle Pass. This train doesn't just impact Texas. This train impacts all of America. Goods that are going to all over America. Essentially, if you're doing it the right way, if you're here, you're trying to visit family and you're trying to get goods and services, you're being punished. While those that are coming over illegally have just constant interest in it. I want to share something. I'm sending a letter today it's called the Four Corners. Essentially to Senator Schumer, Senator McConnell, Speaker Johnson, and Minority Leader Jeffries. There's a bunch of things in this letter. This is the desperate state I'm in. There's a bunch of things in this letter that I'm sending to them, but this is one thing I want to highlight in particular. The severity of this security gap cannot be understated. Beyond increases in drug smuggling at the border, years of counterterrorism efforts are being undone. Law enforcement is beyond their limits to continue holding the line, and the possibility of a terrorist act committed in relation to this border crisis is higher than ever. In my district, local communities have no further resources to continue sustaining this migrant crisis. I am sounding the alarm as loud as I possibly can. And this threat is not only external. People are upset. All over this country, people are upset for what's happening here. And I think back to Oklahoma City bombing. That was an internal threat. So this crisis that has been caused, I don't care how we got here. I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care about the politics. I want this to end, and I want our country to be safe from internal threats as well as external threats. And I'm willing to work with anyone. I'm willing to talk to anyone that wants to sit down and do that. And the time for talk is over, but we have to sit down and we have to work through this negotiating deal and get something that's meaningful done over the finish line. And anybody that's going to push back against that, I will fight them with everything I have, because this has to come to an end. We need to have open trade and commerce again. Our people, the city manager was just telling me there are people living here that are calling him going, hey, my mother wants to come visit for Christmas. Can she do that? What lane does she get in? How long is she going to be? Is she going to be stuck there? I visited about 10 days ago. I visited with some of the first responders that have been pulling these babies out of the water. They're exhausted. We're all exhausted. This crisis has spiraled way out of control, and we are at the point of no return. That is where we're at, the point of no return. So while the time to act is now, I'll take some questions.
What do your colleagues on the Hill not get about the border?
I have hosted over 100 members of Congress, mostly Republicans, but I've hosted some Democrats. I visited not only in my district, but I visited Arizona as well. For many people, the border is very foreign to them. They will come in, they'll get a taste of it for a day, and then they'll leave. But the border no longer stops at the border. It impacts all of America.
And that was Representative Tony Gonzalez in Eagle Pass sharing about the situation along the border. He shared alarming numbers, including in Eagle Pass, over 10,000 people in detention and also 4,000 crossing over just yesterday. Basically, Border Patrol along the border is stretched thin.
Right, invoking serious topics that we talk about on a daily basis: counterterrorism, the economic implications of shutting down that rail, and of course, the impact on the local communities, not only in Eagle Pass and El Paso, but really throughout Texas. So obviously, we're going to have much more. Our Danielle Ibarra was actually at the press conference. She's going to be able to fill you in, take those questions, and have full insight coming up at 5 o'clock. But we do have late breaking news. We're going to share that with you right after the break.
And now to late breaking news on the west side, where crews are battling a fire.
That's right. Lee Waldman joins us live. So Lee, what can you tell us?
Max, Tiffany, so we just got done speaking with Chief Hood, and he was telling us this fire call came out around 11:30, and their fire crews had to act very aggressively. Let's go ahead and show you what's happening now. You see no active flames, no more smoke, but a lot of damage toward the back of that home, and still fire crews going in and around that area. Chief Hood tells us that there were 4 people inside of this home when that fire sparked. 2 were able to get out on their own, but firefighters had to go in and rescue 2 others. They said those fire crews went in aggressively with hoses. They're also at this point looking for 2 dogs. Now, one of those individuals that had to be rescued, Chief Hood says they took her to the hospital priority 2 with smoke inhalation. He does expect that she's going to be okay. The 3 others, they're also being monitored for smoke inhalation. Now, fire crews did not hear any sounds of any kind of smoke detector in the home, so they're still trying to figure out if this home did have any smoke detectors. Now, Chief Hood said that They don't know the cause of this fire at this point, but he did take this as an opportunity to remind all of us in the community to look at our own fire or our own Christmas trees rather and make sure that they're watered, make sure you're not overplugging in outlets. And he also said that if this fire call had come in at nighttime, he says that they potentially could be looking at 4 fatalities. So he's proud of his crew for how they responded. No firefighters injured in the response to this fire. And right now they're still looking for those 2 dogs, but everyone inside of the home, thankfully they are expected to be okay. Fire crew is able to get those other 2 out safely.
Thank you, Lee. That's good news to hear. Yeah.
All right. We have a lot to talk about in the weather department. We're going to check in with Sarah Spivey right after the break.
Alrighty, welcome back. We've got a lot to talk about in the weather. First of all, clouds are increasing out there right now and temperatures are close to 70 degrees. We will be in the low 70s this afternoon, right around 72 degrees for the high. Winds have picked up from the south and from the east. They're gusting up to 20 miles per hour. That's bringing in Gulf of Mexico moisture so that this evening it's not going to get too cool. We're only going to be at 60 degrees by about midnight, and we will also be seeing increasing patchy drizzle out there, so much so that by tomorrow morning we will have drizzle. In fact, we're going to have morning mist and drizzle every single day through Sunday. So tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all starting off damp. And then in the mix, we're also going to have areas of showers. This is a look at the chance for showers and storms or coverage. So 30% coverage tomorrow, slightly higher coverage on Friday, and that'll continue through Sunday. Now, an update to the forecast. Looks like a cold front is going to move through, or should I say a cool front is going to move through Sunday and into Monday. So that'll set up a pretty nice Christmas forecast. Speaking of the holidays, I want to talk about travel trouble spots in the days ahead. Now, tomorrow, Thursday, a busy travel day. There shouldn't be that many issues out there. Just a few light rain showers on the roads across Texas, but that's it. However, transitioning into Friday, that's when we start to see things becoming a little messy in spots. There will be some rain up near Milwaukee and the Great Lakes, and then off to the west, that's where we expect even more issues as far as weather goes. There's going to be a dynamic system working its way through the Pacific Northwest and near Los Angeles and Phoenix as well. That same system will develop across the nation and move through by Saturday, December 23rd. Areas across the Rockies are going to be seeing some snow, and even later in the day, if you have late night travel plans across Texas on Saturday, there will be some areas of rain. Now, if you are driving across Texas on Christmas Eve, I want you to pay attention to this forecast. This is Sunday, Christmas Eve at 11 o'clock in the morning. A front is going to be moving through Texas, and this is going to fire off a few showers and storms, especially along I-35 up toward Dallas and I-10 toward Houston. So if you're driving on Sunday morning, on Christmas Eve morning, you might run into some showers and storms along 35 and I-10. But with that front moving through, it's actually going to set up a really pleasant Christmas day across all of Texas. Cold in the Panhandle, cool in North Texas, pleasant around San Antonio, and nice in the Rio Grande Valley. Here's San Antonio's forecast. We expect maybe up to ½ an inch of rain from tomorrow morning through Sunday, more like 1/4 inch to ½ an inch of rain. And then on Christmas Eve itself, it'll be 72 with some showers and storms. That front moving through, setting up a nice Christmas day. Chilly in the morning near 50, cool in the afternoon near 60. With a chance of rain in the forecast over the next several days, make sure you have the KSAT Weather Authority app. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Holidays can be stressful enough that many people like to leave the cooking to someone else. If you're looking for a place to go eat on Christmas Day, we've compiled a list.
All right, that list includes options for every budget, including fast food chains and even local spots. Just look for the story in the holiday section of KSAT.com.
We'll be right back.